Pleasure meaning all types of things.
Give it a good. I put that on God when it gets hard. I stay on my job like no days off, so you can go home.
Test. Hey everyone, and welcome back to my next YouTube video. I hope you're doing great. So I got my cup of tea here with me because today it's going to be a new format that we're going to try out, and I just realized, first off, I enjoy watching reaction videos, but not just like random reaction videos, very specific ones. Time where I just consumed them, I was like, hold on, right now, like I'm currently creating YouTube videos. Wouldn't that be another format that I would actually like? And I was like, maybe I can actually record a reaction video, but I knew it won't be a reaction video on like normal pop culture topics. So I was like, okay, I just had the idea in the back of my head and was like, okay, so if the right thing where I can just react to comes up, then Spirit just let me know it is this. And the reason I chose this one is, first of all, if you don't know Tony Gaskins, please check out his content. He creates YouTube videos on relationship, personal growth, personal development, and much more. And he's just really wise and helped me out in a lot of like relationship-ish topics and everything. So I can just highly recommend him. And he created this new format where he put 6 single people together to just talk about like everything relationship wise. And here are the 3 guys, so it's 3 girls, 3 guys. And here's a video of the 3 men sitting together. They call this episode the Man Cave Edition, and they just talk about everything. And as I saw this video, I just felt how therapeutic it was for me, though I'm a female listening to this. They're like talking about men's struggle, how singleness as a male, what they had to go through, specific traumas regarding sex and everything. It was really refreshing to hear men talk about such topics and being so vulnerable about it, and just seeing actual men relate to things that are emotional. And okay, so enough talking, let's just dive right into the video. The video is 53 minutes long, and of course we're not going to react to everything. We're just going to react to a few snippets, and we're going to start with the first one now. But of course, please give the video a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell to be notified each time I upload. And in case you're wondering what this thing here is, I got a microphone. I got a microphone, and I don't know how efficient it is, but I just, have to step up my YouTube game bit by bit. So I tried this one. I didn't want to like a full, for example, podcast microphone, so that's why I'm starting with this one. But let's see how it works. So please, again, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. I will definitely link the video down below for you to watch the total, which I highly recommend after watching my video, of course. So yeah, and please comment your thoughts, opinions, just everything down below. Let's have a chat down below. And yes, I hope you enjoy this video. All right, let's go.
Really add up, and that's why a lot of guys are going to depression.
Yeah.
Some guys even commit suicide.
Yeah,
like depression of life, right?
Yeah. Yeah, no, it definitely, that's wealth, bro. That's a wealth, man. Like, if you're able to have a father, like, I'm grateful, Like, so my dad, for example, his dad died when he was, like, 22. But my dad's dad was very unhealthy, was a rolling stone, was abusive to his mother. So he saw a very unhealthy man. But my dad made the choice and decision that he wanted to be a father, wanted to be a better man. And so, like, I see that sacrifice. Now, I see some of the things that my dad got onto me about that, like, we butted heads on, like, and me stepping into that phase of like, becoming a young man and, like, testing my father. Like, I'm so grateful for, like, that masculine energy, for him challenging me, pushing me, and, like, roughing me up at times whenever I wanted to buck, So I'm super grateful, I understand the privilege that I have having had a father in my house. household, and I won't deny that. You know, like it is a beautiful thing, and it's something that like I try and share with other brothers who haven't had that. You know, I try and share like that love that I was given, that I was fortunate enough to have, and my experiences to those that are willing and able to receive it. You know, bless you, thank you. Because with the cycle that I do see, like growing up, you know, my dad was a pastor, so like growing up, I just saw like my family give so much, and I just grew up seeing a lot in church, and I saw a lot of like single men repeat the same process that was done to them, hurting people. So becoming the same father that they hated so much growing up or wanted so much growing up, they become that same absent father, you know, unless they...
Yep, this is so true. The thing is with, in that case, men doing that, of course, I'm not a psychologist, so I cannot give you a definition for it, but it all stems from healing. If you, for example, forgave your father for being absent, um, or you, for example, just avoided ever since, you knew that it wasn't a good thing that he wasn't there, that he was absent, but you never dealt with it. You just pushed it off. Subconsciously, you're still like hating him for it, or for example, you resent him for it. So your heart doesn't feel this peace towards it, and that's why you can't heal from it. You can't break the pattern because you still feel resentment in your heart, and therefore like forgiveness is so important. I just feel like many parents wish they wouldn't have done the same mistakes that their parents did, and which they like that they despised because they didn't like do the inner work, they didn't go to therapy, they didn't really talk about it, just pushed it down all the time, which led to them not actually confronting the situation to make it better. Because if you just push things down, you're not aware of it, and if you're not aware of it, the chances of repeating something because it's habitual, you grew up with it, is very high. So yeah.
It takes like a difference. It takes a moral compass or code, something bigger than you to make a shift to say, you know what, like I want to shift the generational curse with me. Like I want to be a father. You know, like for me, it's easier because I had a father. Just like somebody who like I said earlier, who grew up with money, it's easier to understand finances and how to handle wealth when you grew up around it. You know, or you could just as easily squander it. And I think just like that's just the opportunity that we have as men. I read this book and it says women are born, men are made. You know, we're born male, but we have to choose. Are born, men are made. You know, or you could just as easily squander it. And I think just like that's just the opportunity that we have as men. I read this book and it says women are born, men are made. You know, we're born male, but we have to choose to become a man. There's a lot of resources out there, you know, but you got to choose, like, you got to educate yourself on manhood, you know, you got to choose to learn. Like, you can't make the excuse of, like, man, I didn't have a father. Like, all right, when you're younger, that's fine. When you step into adulthood, you are now responsible for your journey. You're now responsible for the kids that you bring in this world, you know, like, it is our duty, no matter what we had a father or not. Society looks at men to be responsible, you know. And we got to understand that, like that's just a hard truth for us, you know. So
basically, no excuse. Of course, it's not good and easy to grow up without a father as a male because you just lack this role model. It's hard, of course, but if as soon as you are mature enough or just old enough, you've aged, you cannot take this as an excuse for your wounds, to mistreat others, or just to be irresponsible. Yeah.
Me, like I have had to, even though I had a father, I've had to still find myself as a man. You know, I still had to find my way, and I still bumped my head and made some mistakes along my journey. And it's also different for me, like being in my late 20s now, having a relationship with my father because he didn't have his father at this point in time in his life, you know. So it's still a learning process, but it's a beautiful thing. And I think just like father, no father, like we have to make that choice to be a man and to look and find better and to be better, even if we never saw it growing up, you know.
Preach to that. Next part.
It's hard to articulate it, but what I want to say is that Okay, it's the difference, being a man and then being like a 20, let's say, grown boy. You understand? Because like you could be a man, because being a man means that I feel like you're at a level of maturity. And you've accepted a certain level of responsibility. You understand who you are. Because also, like being a real man, it's attached. Knowing your purpose, though. Because if you don't know what you put here to do, you don't really know who you are. So all of that ties into being a man. Because once you find out your purpose and you know what you're here for, now you're able to move different and lead different.
Thank you. And that's on period. Let's talk about that for a minute, because, am I not the person who constantly says you gotta know what your purpose is to, like, know where you want to head in life? Like, it sounds obvious, but unfortunately for most people it's not obvious, because many people just see it as a spiritual thing to know their purpose. Especially men, they don't want to centralize, over emotionalize this thing. Fact is, each and every one of us is born with a purpose. And as a male, if you're not aware of your purpose, you literally just live life doing things and following societal structures mindlessly, without actually asking yourself, okay, am I called to be this kind of man? To be this kind of husband, to be this kind of father. Because in that case, if you just follow the societal norm, it says as a father, you would have to be a husband, to be there for your family, to provide for your family. But it's never down to the how, it's just very general, very broad. You as a man are called to be a provider, to be a father, to be a loving husband. But what if your foundation as a man wasn't good? For example, you had an absent father. So a broken man in that case, broken men don't even think they are broken. They just think that they're okay. For example, they compensate with working out very much and just literally pump themselves up to be this male figure, because they think, okay, I'm a man if I look very manly. But it's not about that only. They distract themselves with things society just claims to be a man, without actually questioning, okay, but how am I stepping into my purpose? What type of man am I called to be? If you just don't sit down to actually discover what your purpose is, or just generally, because I also feel like people don't understand what a purpose is. And the thing is, honestly speaking, if you don't have a relationship with God, or if you don't believe in God, for example, believing that you have a actual purpose, and that's the reason why you came here on earth, it's like they cannot grasp it. So, for example, a male who doesn't believe in God also doesn't believe that God put him here on earth with a specific assignment. So how could this male, for example, then step in his purpose and become the man God called him to be, if he doesn't know who he is and who mostly even created him? If you don't know who created you, how, it's like, not everyone reads a manual script, but for example, I do. And if you don't have the manual script to it, put that aside and you just build something, and the something might turn out good, might even look good, might even feel stable if you knock against it, if you push it, whatever. But actually has way more functions. It has more characteristics. It has more abilities. But if you didn't read the manual, if you didn't read the manuscript to this thing, then you're just functioning on a average basis, but you have way more potential. So it's just very important for a man, and this is what they're going to touch on. So I'm not going to talk too much. Let me just cut here, because I could talk about this forever. Okay.
Forever.
I think we're planters, we're farmers. There's a reason that we carry a seed, because we have to cultivate. It's mental anguish of having to create and provide, and physical, that's on us. Like you said, it's our duty to be wise stewards over our time, over our talents, over our body, over everything around us. a household, keeping a household clean, keeping the yard, maintaining. Like, it is our duty, no matter what
We set the pace. We set the pace.
yeah, yeah, like we're that's what, you know, and again, like MJ said, you know, like, I think it's important for every man to have his own moral code, you know, and for me, it's the Bible as well. That's my moral code and my compass, and so, you know, based on that, I understand.
But I love how he said moral code. I mean, if you think about it, it makes total sense. If you have to get your morals from somewhere, and like most of the morals we live by, especially in Western culture, are biblical morals. For example, don't kill, don't steal, um, don't commit adultery, and all that. He, for example, takes the Bible as his reference for his morals, which, in my opinion, is just the best thing you can do.
I'm called to be a priest. I'm called to be a leader. But, you know, starting spiritually, and that bleeds into my mind. That bleeds into my body. It starts with stewardship, you know, and it starts with my spirit. It starts with submitting myself unto the Creator, you know, and allowing Him to pour into me, to give me wisdom, to give me insight, and show me how to be a leader, you know, and be the reflection of who He is, you know. He made us in His own image, so Him being my leader, how do I lead in this space of time and life that you've carved out for me to live in? What is my duty here? How am I supposed to lead and leave a legacy of leadership? Where am I supposed to plant seeds? You know, what am I, you know, supposed to be giving? You know, like, it is sacrificial. You know, like, I know that I'm gonna die one day. You know, I know that my soul's gonna leave this body, but what am I gonna sow into the world before I go back and I see God again? But I think that's what it is for us as men, is to leave. I know that my soul is going to leave this body, but what am I going to sow into the world before I go back and I see God again? You know, but I think that's what it is for us as men, is to leave a piece of ourselves here. You know,
I feel like, just my assumption, it's very important for men to leave something behind. They like even say it, you know, like one of their like main motivation is to leave to leave their footprint behind. There's nothing that can make a man more proud than leaving something behind. May it be inheritance, may it be just something they've built where people can like talk about because they, you know, are ego driven, but it's not like in a way to downgrade them. But they, like, men just have a big ego, and egos love to know, okay, I left something behind. People are talking about it. People are getting excited about it and everything. So yeah, I mean, man, what are you leaving behind? Generally speaking, not just as a man, what are we leaving behind? We even ask ourselves this question, what do we want to leave behind? Because I, for certain, know that I'm going to leave my footprints here on earth. I'm here to be a servant to God and just to step into my purpose. And by stepping in my purpose, I'm leaving my footprints behind. I'm inspiring other, for example, younger women to do the same. I encourage them to do the same. You know?
so and that hurts. It's painful. You know, that's our birth. You know, women give a physical birth, but man, the birth that men have to give is different. Man, it's our soul, our spirit.
I'm sorry, I just have to pause again because Caleb is so wise. He is like beyond wise. I mean, I don't know how old he is, but I think he's still like in his 20s. And I'm just like, wow, hearing men in their 20s say such wise and deep, profound things, I'm just amazed. But okay, I literally forgot what he said. Hold on.
And that hurts. It's painful. You know, that's our birth. You know, women give a physical birth, but man, the birth that men have to give is different. Man, it's our soul, our spirit.
That is so deep. Think about it. Literally, think about it. Women give physical birth, but men actually give spiritual birth because they leave things behind. Their inheritance, their just like also their presence is also a form of birth. You know, it's just, I mean, the first time I heard this, I was really captivated. I was like, whoa, you know, and the way that I like my brain functions, I just think in the deepest layers and facets and everything, my brain was just like going down a roller coaster ride and was like, whoa, that is so deep.
Our sweat, our tears, and we never stop giving birth to the day we die. You know, like it's every day we gotta show up. We gotta be responsible. There's always a duty. You know, like we're always at risk of like, man, if I gotta give my life today for my family.
I have deep empathy for men who really are aware of their responsibility.
You know, it's a lot of people that profess like I believe this or that, but are you willing to sacrifice your life for that? You know, like that's the duty of a man. You know, for me and all facets, and that's tough. That's a hard pill to swallow. You know, but there's a reason that we're looked at as being expendable, and you know that's why our legacy lives on. As we were talking about after we die, man. Like thinking specifically about Dr. Miles Monroe. You know, he passed away, but the sacrifice that he made while he was here.
Shall I say something about him? I mean, please just do yourself a favor and Google Dr. Miles Monroe. Not even Google, just type in on YouTube and watch his videos because they're so influential in it can like literally transform your worldview and your life and how you approach things. He talks about purpose a lot. I don't know if you've seen my one YouTube video where I refer to his book Understanding Your Potential, but he's also the author of many books related to purpose finding, potential, like discovering your potential, stepping into your purpose and everything. So my whole purpose knowledge and the depth of understanding are created for a reason. I mainly got out of his talks, his videos, his sermons, just really transformed my approach on purpose and potential. So do yourself that favor.
It still lives on today. He was living his purpose, right? So it's almost like for me personally, man, like if you want to tap into being a real man, then you have to tap into your purpose. You understand? Like you have to tap into your purpose because you won't have the impact you're supposed to have unless you're actually walking your purpose. Like we're all put here to do a specific thing. Right? So it's almost like this, like if you bought a certain product from the store and it didn't do what it's supposed to do, it was pointless. You understand? Like it didn't serve its purpose. So us being here, man, if we don't come to earth and do and become and manifest and be what we're supposed to be, our existence was wasted. Like, you know what I'm saying? We didn't do what we were purposed to be. You know, so that's something that, you know, I feel like if we don't tap into our purpose. And to tap into your purpose, you have to have a relationship with God. That's why I tie, like, you know, you being a real man to understanding God and having a relationship with God.
And I know it's like so hard, especially for unbelievers, to actually understand that for you as a man to really get to know yourself in depth, who you are, who you're meant to be, what your calling is, it is the number one thing or that is linked to it is knowing God and having a relationship with God. I know it's so like, but how do you mean? So if I don't believe in God, then I cannot like fully grasp who I am. And sorry to say that, but yes, because again, if you don't know the person, God is not a person. If you don't know who created you, if you don't go to the source of who created you, then how can you actually find out where you are from? Let's just put it in like a geographical example. If you're, for example, born in Portugal and all your relatives are there, blah blah blah, just like your whole family history, ancestors are all living and from Portugal, and you grew up in Canada. So for you to actually get to know your roots and understand where you are from, you would have to go to the source, meaning your family, for example, that are still living there, or you just have to explore Portugal to understand where you're from. What does make Portugal Portugal? Who are Portuguese people? Like all of those things, you can only find that out by being in Portugal and not being in Canada, because from a distance, and it's a distance thing. From a distance, you can't really experience it fully. You can, like touch it. You can research, okay, Portugal like culture. You can watch YouTube videos on that. You can read books on it. As long as you're not in Portugal, you can't really experience the full extent of it. And this is the same thing. I'm not saying that if you don't know God, you can't really experience your calling and know what you're meant to do here on planet Earth. But it's just a distant thing. You might touch it a bit. You might come closer. You have one foot inside of it, but the other foot is still on the other side. It's just really difficult to not like experience this from the original source, you know?
Unless you do that, you want to tap into your purpose, you know, and do what you're supposed to do. And I feel like a man, once you walk in, because to walk in purpose, it'll demand that you're responsible. You have to be responsible. You can't walk in purpose if you're not responsible. You know, you can't walk in purpose if you, like you say, you're never protecting your time, your mind, your energy. You just can't. And that's why I say, man, you know, first priest, protector, provider, all that. You know, first you do it for yourself, and then you decide to bring a woman on, and you have to do it for your family. Be a priest, be a provider, be a protector.
And if you look at Adam, you know, before Adam ever had a relationship with Eve, he had a relationship with God and a relationship with his purpose.
And he's working.
He was working. He was focused. He was working. And there's a quote that says, "A man that does not know his purpose distracts himself with pleasure." You know, and there's a lot of guys out there that think their own purpose.
No, you didn't understand. Repeat that.
He was focused. He was working. And there's a quote that says, "A man that does not know his purpose distracts himself with pleasure." You know, and it's
Pleasure meaning all types of things. Sexual pleasure, sports, for example, gym, or traveling.
women, the strip clubs, drugs, partying, drinking. And I know I've been there. I've been guilty of that, you know. But like finding my purpose and finding myself in God and having a personal relationship with God, not some religious rhetoric. And just,
I love that he said that, because this is what I'm trying to refer to. Have a real relationship with God and not just a religious relationship. Religious meaning you just follow a routine of going to the church, for example, but don't experience God. You don't seek God. You don't like actually pray. You don't, or you pray but not intentionally. You just pray because it's also part of a routine. Or for example, fasting in churches. It's mainly also just a conditional thing because other church members fast, but it's not because you, for example, decided to fast. I'm not sure if I'm going to do a video about this, but there's a real big difference of being religious and having a relationship with God.
religion has taught, but doing what I know from my relationship, my one-on-one time with meditating and being by myself and reading the Word and studying and seeking God for myself, that has led me to my purpose, that has led me to being in a place spiritually to where I'm attracting the right people into my life, you know.
If you take your time to dive into your spirituality, meaning your relationship with God and everything, you just transform yourself internally and therefore attract the right people. So, like, it's just plain and simple. Whatever you consume, whatever you surround yourself with, this is what you actually attract. It's like a magnet.
And being guided, and I think that's important for even if for all the men out there that don't have a father, understand that the Creator is your father. He will guide you and put mentors and people into your life that will blow your mind and pour and instill in you greater than our biological fathers ever could. You know, that's how powerful the Creator is, man. And it's different.
No matter if you had a absent father or not, God is still your father. He's your father before your actual father. Even though you didn't have a father, which is of course a hard thing, know that God is your father and He's higher than everything else. So having God as your father is a win. It's a big win.
That's thrown at us of like pleasure and money and things outside of ourselves. So we never focus on who we are, you know, because that's when we really become powerful. When we realize that we're spiritual beings having a physical experience and we tap into that spiritual power, that's when we really step out of that phone booth and we're Superman.
A disciplined man is a dangerous motherfucker, man.
And I see a quote too. I see a quote that says, how could you be a king if you're a slave to your pleasures?
Damn.
It can't really get. It can't be true.
Fucker, man.
And I see a quote too. I see a quote that says, how could you be a king if you're a slave to your pleasures?
Damn.
It can't really get. It can't be true king, man, being slave to your pleasures.
Just
But
because I'm
and honestly, man, like to kind of summarize this all, man, it's like, bro, it all stops with men. Like if we actually make conversation like this cool, bro, and really decide to be responsible, we can create a shift, and be a spark in the culture, bro. It's like, when it comes to men, like we don't make it like, being celibate. It's not cool in manhood, but the guy code, it's not cool.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But whereas being celibate, bro, a man who's celibate is a powerful man. But we don't make that a cool thing. We don't talk about it. It's a reason why.
I'm literally on like a sober trip, sober from fucking, alcohol and fucking women, bro.
Yeah.
It's big,
Yeah,
bro.
but I'm saying, but that's the stuff you have to make cool, bro.
What did you
They
say?
don't. Ain't nobody gonna
bro?
rap about that. It's about popping bottles, getting girls.
Say,
That's what society and culture
You can't be a king.
is always pushing at us, man. And that's where we have to, the importance of knowing yourself so that way you can detach from what society is pushing out and be able to think for yourself, create, your own boundaries for yourself. We all have our own struggles and we go through different things, different experiences, different walks of life. So what my struggles might be may not be your struggles, It could be something totally different. You may not have a problem with women or drinking or whatever the case may be, but we all know ourselves, or we need to know ourselves, so we do know what our boundaries are and what we need to work on, man. But you're right, man. I think understanding that we're all kings, and we don't have to fight against one another. Kings can rule together,
Bro,
Iron
making
sharpens
it
iron.
cool though. I'm saying, like, how do you make it cool, bro? Like, what I'm saying, even when we look at our culture, bro, like
It'll never be
urban
cool.
culture. I'm saying, but we have to have this conversation. It has to be balanced. The reason why, bro, like drugs, hella women, all that stuff is super popular, right? The rappers talk about it all the time. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's on TV and stuff.
Yeah.
But even like us, bro, why aren't we having more of these conversations? And why aren't we wondering that, I'm a guy, I'm 28, I'm celibate, I'm not having sex. Why don't we make that a cool thing? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Where a guy who's 28 is a virgin, and he's ashamed. You don't want no one to know that.
Yeah.
Whereas a lady who's 28, she's a virgin that's cherished. Like, she's precious.
Right.
You're precious too, man. You're a king. You know what I'm saying? Like, if someone boys is, she's like 25, you're a virgin, and you're working out. I'm like, bro, I'm so jealous of you, bro. Like, bro, please, bro, don't lose that.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
And
Pure,
right, bro.
Yeah.
And for him, he's kind of ashamed of it. And I'm like, bro, that's a superpower.
Right.
You understand?
It is. I love that. It is a superpower. Let's talk about that, because you might be like, how come it is a superpower if you're abstinent as a man, if you're a virgin as a man if you're like 25, 28, whatever. Referring back to the example Caleb took when he said that men plant seeds, meaning in the act when they come, they plant the seed. It's actually, they give something like off of them onto the woman, to the woman. And this is when they're like leaving prints behind. Just very like sad for me to just hear how men experience losing their virginity. And this is a thing, like, it's not talked about. And this is what they're going to refer to, but I'm going to pause this here and do a part 2 of this video because your girl's gotta run. It's not a cool thing for a man to be abstinent to protect his virginity, because then you're automatically not seen as a real man. The real man must have, slept with X amount of women, dozen women even. That's even better. It's just a big lie that many are fed, and it really just makes me sad for men to base their worthiness, like their worthiness level, on the amount of women they slept with, or just their sexual experience in general. Sex is just a another gift of God to of course, procreate, and for us to experience when we're married, to enjoy it. And how come people or society just made this a thing of, you know, just attaching it to your worthiness? Like, if you've experienced, then you're worthy, and like the times you've experienced it and the more you grew in experience, then you're even more worthier. No. Who said that? Who set that like bar? This bar? No, just no. No. You might like just want to watch the whole video. You can still do that until I upload the second part, but I really just hope that you enjoyed this video so far. Think about things in another certain way, that it provoked your thoughts, and that you're here for part 2. So thank you for watching, guys, and I really appreciate it. Again, give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and yes, I'm excited to see you the next time then. Bye!
You can keep your bitter, I'ma make a better way.